Stop what you are doing, because we are about to look at one of the most quietly extraordinary pieces of character writing in modern fantasy television. No battle, no betrayal, no dragon spreading its wings across a burning sky. Just a man, a tent, a room full of people watching, and 4 minutes of conversation that will show you more about genuine human greatness than almost anything else this show has produced. The man is Baelor Breakspear, the Prince of Dragonstone, the heir to the Iron Throne. And the scene is his introduction in The Hedge Knight, the first tale of a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Most people remember it vaguely. They know Baelor is supposed to be good. They know the show wants you to like him, but they process it the way you process background music. Present, pleasant, forgettable. What they miss is the architecture underneath. What they miss is the fact that every single choice Baelor makes in this scene is deliberate, layered, and revealing. Strip it down beat by beat, and you will find something that the show almost never tells you directly, but shows you completely. What it looks like when a powerful person is genuinely, structurally, uncomplicatedly good. Let us start from the very beginning. Baelor arrives at Ashford. He is the Prince of Dragonstone. He is the most powerful man at this tournament by a considerable margin. And the first thing the camera shows us is him dismounting his horse to personally greet Lord Ashford, a minor lord, a man of no great consequence, a man who cannot give Baelor anything he does not already have. He dismounts. He walks to him. He smiles. He touches his arm. This is not ceremony. Ceremony would be Lord Ashford walking to Baelor. Ceremony would be the prince receiving the welcome while standing still, arms at his sides, giving the minimum that protocol requires. What Baelor does instead is go to the man. He closes the distance himself. He makes the lesser lord feel met rather than received. That is a choice. A completely unnecessary choice. And it tells you in 10 seconds what the rest of the scene will spend 4 minutes confirming. This is a man who does not use his power as a wall. He uses it, when he chooses to use it at all, as a bridge. Then comes the moment that really begins everything. Duncan, Dunk, a hedge knight squire with no name, no title, and no business being where he is, gets caught. He is discovered in a space he was not supposed to enter, lurking near the prince's retinue like exactly the kind of person who should be removed immediately. Watch who moves first. It is Maekar, Baelor's brother. He steps forward. His posture changes. His voice hardens. He is already in confrontation mode, already treating Dunk like a threat to be neutralized, a problem to be resolved through force or intimidation. And Baelor does not move at all. He watches. He is completely still. He lets Maekar's energy fill the space, and then he speaks, not to Dunk, not yet, but to his brother. We are the intruders here. 5 words. No raised voice. No drama. Just a quiet, precise reframing of the entire situation that stops Maekar cold and changes the temperature of the room in an instant. Think about what that requires. It requires Baelor to have already processed the situation faster than Maekar did. It requires him to have already decided what this actually is. Not a threat, not a spy, just a nervous young man in the wrong place, while his brother is still reacting. And it requires enough confidence in his own read that he will publicly check his own brother without hesitation, without cruelty, and without making it into a performance of authority. That is not instinct. That is character. That is a man who has trained himself to think before he acts in every situation, including the ones where acting fast would be easy and justified. Then he turns to Dunk, and he calls him Sir. Sit with that for a moment. Dunk is not a knight yet. He is a squire. He has no title. In the strict hierarchy of this world, he is almost nobody. A young man from the streets of Flea Bottom who attached himself to a hedge knight and learned to ride and swing a sword. He has earned nothing that Baelor is obligated to recognize. And Baelor calls him Sir. He does not say you there, or boy, or simply come here. He extends a courtesy that Dunk has not formally earned, in front of lords and knights who would notice, because he has decided that this young man in front of him deserves to be treated with basic human dignity. Not because it is politic, not because anyone is grading him on it, Because that is simply how Baelor Breakspear moves through the world. And then the second word, closer. Not explain yourself. Not who are you, and what are you doing here. He does not demand justification. He does not make Dunk perform innocence before he has even had the chance to speak. He simply invites him in. He creates safety first and asks questions second. He is saying, without saying it, I am not your enemy. You do not need to be afraid. One line. Humble and commanding at the same time. Generous and in complete control simultaneously. It is one of the most quietly impressive things any character in this universe has ever done. But Baelor is not naive. This is where the scene becomes genuinely sophisticated, because what follows is not just warmth. What follows is warmth deployed with precision by an extremely sharp mind. When Dunk mentions Sir Arlen of Pennytree, his late master, the hedge knight he served, watch Baelor's face change. Not dramatically, not theatrically, just a slight sharpening behind the eyes. A recognition clicking into place. He remembers Sir Arlen. More than that, he remembers him specifically, in detail. The way you remember someone you paid genuine attention to rather than someone you heard about in passing. He does not let on immediately. He lets Dunk continue. He watches him, reads him, assesses the story as it unfolds. There is real intelligence at work here. Because Dunk could be anyone. He could be a fraud using a dead hedge knight's name to claim entry to a tournament he has no right to enter. Baelor knows this. He is kind, but he is not foolish. He is generous, but he is not careless. So when he does speak, when he begins reciting the details of Sir Arlen's record, the melee at King's Landing, the unhorsing of Lord Stokeworth, he is doing two things at once. On the surface, he is being gracious, honoring the memory of a minor knight who served honestly. Underneath, he is establishing that he cannot be lied to about this. He is telling Dunk and everyone else in the room that he has the information, that he was paying attention when others were not, and that if Dunk's story does not hold up, Baelor will know. He controls the conversation by knowing more than anyone expects him to. And he does it with a smile. Here is something the scene does not spell out, but absolutely means for you to understand. Baelor Targaryen exists in a specific historical moment. The dragons are gone. His family ruled Westeros for generations on the strength of fire and fear, and now the fire is ash and the fear is fading. The Blackfire Rebellion happened. His own claim carries the shadow of his father's Dornish marriage, the non-Targaryen look, the whispers about blood, the quiet questions from lords who smile at his face and calculate behind it. He cannot rule through dragons. He cannot command through terror. So he builds something different. He builds a reputation so solid, a character so consistent, a presence so steady and trustworthy that people choose to follow him. He learns his enemies. He remembers minor knights. He treats every room he enters as an opportunity to demonstrate that he deserves the crown not by birth, but by the quality of his attention. When he says, I make it a practice to learn all I can of my foes, that is not the vanity of a tournament champion. That is a man who understands that in a world without dragons, information is the only fire left. He is doing the work. Every single day, in every single room, one interaction at a time. He is making the argument for himself. Not with speeches, with behavior. And then Dunk contradicts him. Baelor says they broke 4 lances before he unhorsed Sir Arlen. Dunk says 7. In front of lords. In front of knights. In front of everyone. This is the moment. If Baelor is the kind of powerful man this world usually produces, this is where it goes wrong. This is where he bristles. This is where the mask slips, and you see the ego underneath, the thin skin, the nobleman who treats correction as insult and insult as declaration of war. We have seen that man before in this universe. We know exactly what he looks like. Baelor laughs. Not a performance of graciousness. A genuine laugh. Because what he immediately sees, faster than the embarrassment, faster than the ego could even register, is what this moment actually means. Dunk was there. Dunk remembers. Dunk is not lying. He simply has a different memory. And the reason memories differ is that stories grow in the telling. And the reason stories about Baelor grow is that defeating a Targaryen prince is worth more if the fight was longer. Tales grow in the telling. He gives Dunk the most generous possible interpretation of the discrepancy and then wraps it in a line that subtly, graciously, without a single ounce of malice, reminds everyone present that he is the legend being mythologized. He turns a moment that could have made him look challenged into a moment that makes him look inevitable. And he does it in a way that protects Dunk, honors the memory of Sir Arlen, and costs him nothing but a smile. After Dunk apologizes, mortified, humiliated, waiting for whatever comes next, Baelor speaks 4 words. No harm was done. And then rise. There is no speech, no magnanimous monologue about forgiveness and the generosity of princes. Just 4 words and a gesture,